So in this video, I'm going to be doing a tutorial how to make charge bars, stamina bars, and those type of things because I got a suggestion on my latest video. The person asked me, please make a tutorial for charge bars because I have problems making health bars or stamina bars, please. I also had this problem before, so that's also mainly why I'm making this, because to find tutorials like this is really hard, and some games kind of need these stamina bars and things. So let's make it. So to make this, I'm gonna go back into my tutorial assets deck, and I think for this I'm gonna use the character. So there's two different types of charge bars you can make. You can make an animation based one or a width based one. Basically the difference is one is going to be way more smooth than the other one, but one of them can be used in a lot more ways. So let's start with the first one, where it is going to be the animation bar. I'm just gonna use a stamina bar, but you can link this to literally anything else you want to do. So for the animation bar, you're gonna actually just make the bar first and make the frames for where you want the bar to fill up and go down. So I'm gonna quickly make that. So now I made a charge bar where every frame it goes up a little bit until it reaches the max. So you want to make something like this. Then what you're gonna do is go into the logic, and because we're gonna use stamina for this, we're gonna need a stamina system before we do this. So let's go in the character and create one. And before we do this, you're gonna want to tag the people. So you can tag them anything, but in this case, character has the character tag, and then this charge bar has load and stamina bar that will be used right now. So on the character, you're gonna say when created, it's gonna repeat every 0.5 seconds. If this has the stamina tag, and the stamina tag is just a tag I created, so when the character has it, he's gonna move very fast, and when he loses it, he's gonna go back to his normal speed. So we're gonna say if has tag and say stamina, and then we're gonna say tell actors with the tag stamina bar, and that's the stamina bar we put on the charge bar thing. It's gonna tell stamina bar if it has passed frame 2, then it's gonna delete the actual frames, because what we're doing is just minusing the current frame every 0.5 seconds when this has the stamina bar. And this if is just to say if it has no more stamina on the stamina bar, then it's not gonna work here and not gonna minus it. So we can say if expression, and then we say the expression is gonna be the value of the behavior property of the current frame. And because we said tell the charge bar, we don't just link it here. And we can say when it's greater or equal then 2. And if we go back to the charge bar here, we can see here that 2 is when we first have the charge, and 1 is when there's no charge in the charge bar. So now we can actually say it must modify the current frame to -1 relative, because it's gonna not just make it -1, it's gonna continuously make it -1. So now that that's done, we're now gonna say when it gains the stamina tag, it's gonna modify the max speed to high, and when it's low. So we're still using the stamina tag, and we can say when this gains a tag, what is going to be the stamina tag, it's going to repeat every 0.167 seconds, and we make it this low number because it's going to constantly check if you have the stamina tag, and then it's going to do this. And then we're going to say if the expression of the charge bar is more than 2, and this is because if we don't do this, it's going to constantly have that speed. So we're going to say here if the current frame of, you swap myself actor to the closest actor with the tag stamina bar, and if that is greater or equal than 2, then we're gonna modify the max speed, because we're using that for this, to 10 for example. And then we do the same thing, but we don't have an if statement for when it loses the tag. So when it loses the stamina tag, it's going to repeat again, and then it's going to just modify the max speed to be what it was, what is 2. So now let's move on to the button that's giving us the stamina tag in the first place. So here's the button. Then we're going to say when touch begins on this, because we're going to say when it's holding and not tapping. So when touch begins on this, it's going to modify the current frame to 2, just to let you know if you're holding it down. And then I'm just gonna say play sound. This is optional. And then you're gonna say tell actors with the tag character to add add the tag stamina, and this is when we're adding the tag now. And then under that, we're gonna say tell actors with the tag charge bar, and we're gonna use this tag later, but it's the tag that we said load on the charge bar. So we're gonna say it's gonna remove the tag load, because we're gonna use the load to constantly load frames so it recharges the stamina bar. So then we do basically the opposite with when touch ends on this. So I'll just copy and paste it here and say when touch ends on this, it's gonna modify the frame to 1. I'm gonna take away the sound, and it's gonna actually remove the stamina tag on the character, and it's gonna add the load tag so the load bar will load. And now the final thing that we're gonna do is go on the charge bar, and all we're gonna do here is just say the load tag. So when it's created, it's gonna repeat every 1 second. If you change this repeating here, it'll make it load faster back. So it's gonna repeat every 1 second. If it has the tag load, because that's the tag we were talking about, it's gonna modify the current frame +1 every second. And we're gonna say in condition here, if the current frame is less than equal than 7, and that's because we don't want it to be going over the max amount of frames, otherwise it's gonna reset again. So we're gonna say behavior property of the current frame of myself, and if that's less or equal than 7. So now after you've done all that, you have a fully working charge bar. And what most people would use the charge bar for is just making it a little bit bigger, and then putting on relative camera so it stays with you even though the camera moves with the character. And we can just put in the top right, so now it's relative to the camera, and you can see in the top left, when we move and run, the charge bar goes down, and once it's 0, then you can't sprint no more, and when you let go, it recharges the bar. So you can put it in relative and the top left or wherever you want, but what you can also do is make it follow the character. What I use in my game Kill 'Em Zombies, and many other people could use this for certain other stuff, because sometimes it might look better. So what I'm going to do for this is just simply, I'm going to say on the character, it's gonna, when it's created, it's going to create the charge bar instead of it being already there. And then under here, it's going to perform a response, and that response is going to be to modify property exposition to be the behavior property of the exposition of the character that created me, and we're gonna say not relative. And then we're gonna do that for the Y as well, the modify property Y position to the behavior property of the Y position of the actor that created me. Then we're gonna say repeat as fast as we can, and what this is gonna do is gonna make it be the exact same position as the character, but we want it a little bit above the character. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in the Y position, and we're gonna just change the value of the behavior property to be add instead, and then we're gonna say add -1, so it's gonna be -1, so it's gonna be a little bit above our character. And then the bottom, we're gonna say the behavior property of the Y position of the character that created us. And then once we go onto the charge bar, remove the relative to camera, we can see that it's gonna be above our character all the time. But what I'm gonna quickly do is just modify some things to make it look better. So I'm just gonna move it a little bit. So I just modified the size and stuff, and here's your stamina bar. I'm gonna make it start with max stamina by just pressing on the 8th keyframe and then on the 8th animation frame, and then now your character's gonna have max stamina at the start. And one thing before we finish, we're just gonna quickly go back to the character because I made a little mistake. And then under when this gains stamina, we're just gonna say else. It's gonna modify the max speed to be 2, and this is basically if this does have a stamina tag but the stamina bar is low, is not under the if statement, then it's just gonna modify it back to 2. So now you have a fully working stamina bar that you can use in any game, and then slows down. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next time, and bye bye.